Gentlemen, you will now be disarmed.
You can try.
You refuse to obey our laws?
The laws of men mean little to me.
Fine. Kill them.
I'm here to help you.
I don't need any help.
Really? Welcome back to the bakery. Van Helsing. If you don't know who he is, I won't lie, I'll be a little bit disappointed. YouTube says 80% of you are between 18 and 34, so if you don't recognize Van Helsing, what are you doing? Anyway, Van Helsing, vampire hunter, man of many talents, weapon master. Who better to run through a horrifically corrupted land? Today, we're gonna see if I can beat Dark Souls 3 as Van Helsing. What exactly does beat Dark Souls 3 as Van Helsing mean? Crossbows only. You see, Van Helsing uses a pair of revolvers and a pump-action shotgun, which, obviously, do not exist in the world of Dark Souls. So what does that leave us with? Crossbows. Well, I guess I should say crossbow, since I really mean the repeating crossbow, as that's exactly what Van Helsing uses. You might be thinking, man cakes, that's an endgame weapon. What are you talking about? This is gonna be a sweep. Haha. No. Gale's crossbow has no scaling, so whatever upgrades we're able to put on it, that's it. No more damage. So here's us, modeled after another of Hugh Jackman's physical forms, and off we are into the Kingdom of Lothric. Seeing as we're at our first bonfire, let's go ahead and... yeah, there we go. I also gave us 99 standard bolts to start, because if our damage and mobility against the easiest of easies is anything to go by, we are in for some serious difficulty later. At least we can invest some souls into becoming even slightly more qualified to wield our GAT-8 Fingal. Turns out with our few new levels, we were barely able to hit the dexterity requirement and the two-handed strength requirement. So look what we can do. Can't really help against mimics though. We got hit with the FromSoft Classic, then faced Vort twice, thrice. Okay, 4 times, but don't worry, we got it. Low DPS plus being a little bit rusty in the skill department is not a great combination. We did win, though, in the destruction of that disgusting abomination, getting us carried off by creatures that I've begrudgingly had to ally myself with. Here in the decrepit village, I feel it's time for us to upgrade our armament. So we kill this giant lizard, make my short for the day, and boom, weapon upgraded. Already adding another 30 damage. Not great, but it's still improvement. Back in the village, we grab a pile of bones and the mortician's ashes before facing this disgusting pustule-covered tree, who after only like 20 bolts goes down as easy as putting down a werewolf with a satchel of silver bullets. Compared to Count Vladislas Dracula, that tree and this flaming creature are breakfast at most. The Crucifixion Woods. And hunters with prey much like my own. I feel almost at home. I can't admire a place I don't belong, however, and the charm of this place may lull me into a false sense of security. We must keep moving forward, and what a convenient place to do so. There exists a ruined fort. Inside, a sage of unspeakable power. One who nearly ended us, but we were still able to come out on top through our steel wheel and beloved crossbow. Here we are, the cathedral. Now in ruin and corrupted. If we're gonna purge the hell spawns in this place, we're gonna need a shortcut. Oh, how convenient. I'm afraid, however, we can't cleanse this location yet, as we aren't powerful enough. But don't worry. We were able to obtain another piece of my gear, purchase back our friend's armaments, and now we can head in the other direction. A direction wrought with beastmen, lycanthropes to be precise. I've seen your sort before, and trust me, you will fall to my bolts all the same. These purple nasties, though, yuck. I hope in my heart of hearts that putting these, obviously, sacramental flames out will cure these poor saps. Unfortunately, we can't stick around and see the results of our efforts, as we must move forward, gathering a few more materials like this demon's soul and another couple upgrade materials, awarding us 30-ish damage more. Something undoubtedly useful in the battle with these few who seemingly mock my professional duty. Clearly, their imitation wasn't of the same quality as my skill, awarding us an easy victory to move closer to the heart of this corruption in their catacombs. seems. We are slowly reaching our beautifully, fully armored form. But for now, a suspicious chalice. I knew it was a trick. Face me, cur! Oh. Buck, foul beast! Into the pit of darkness from whence ye came. With the corruption of the catacombs now cleansed and this delightfully warm lake discovered, we have no choice but to turn our attention back to the infection's influence spread throughout the cathedral. What do you know, the first DPS check of the game and we are having immense troubles. It's not much of a surprise, this thing's single-shot DPS is in the crapper. However, as soon as I started using the rapid-fire weapon art, it only took another try or two and we emerged victorious. Finally. Seeing as the scourge of corruption here has been cleansed and the way opened, we can proceed into streets strangely familiar to myself. Facing these tall, pale beings, I think I may be heading toward challenges, the likes of which I've never faced before. Gabriel Van Helsing isn't afraid of a little fright or difficulty, however, so we continue to move forward and find a friend of ours once again. There does exist a threat with power so immense that I can sense it from here. I don't think we're strong enough to face him. However, that does not mean we shall give up hope, only that we shall grow stronger. There are specific items we need to obtain, so that is exactly what we shall do by heading down into the deep, dank recesses of this city. This dungeon houses disgusting creatures, and we must delve carefully, as our crossbow leaves us wildly susceptible to these jailers' penetrating stares. Before too long, though, we picked up another of our necessary materials and made it out of the upper reaches of this godforsaken penitentiary. That is only half the journey though, my friends, and we still have the bottom to move through. I think I'll be putting off the depths of the kingdom for now in favor of slaughtering this abomination. A woman who hides a monstrous form. Their female charms have no hold on my will, for I am driven by the slaying of creatures such as this. 3, 2, 1. A slaying which was the easiest by far, compared to any of the previous times I put that monster down. We may have reached this appalling flooded garden, but it's only a quick jaunt before we reach our next foe, a deformed king. A man whose greed for knowledge and transcendence has led to his grotesque mutation. You know, I think we would have been able to kill Osiris here, but we died instead. And now we need to farm souls for more ammunition. What a fool I've been. So foolish, in fact, that while we may have only come here for souls, I'm gonna go ahead and open the path to Dragon Slayer armor. As any Dark Souls linear player would know, it's pretty straightforward, with the most eventful portion being when I essentially walk over hot coals.
Okay, go! Ow! Ow! Ow!
After that, though, we opened the shortcut elevator and finally leveled our vitality enough to finish up our look. Van Helsing, Vampire Hunter. With our newly upgraded gear and our fully covered skin, we defeated the abomination who was once king in only an attempt or two more. Meaning we are only one step away from being able to finish the improvements our weapon requires. Well, by one step, I mean a few mini steps. Basically, we kill a couple lizards, die to the number one killer of every gamer ever, and grab this last scale, meaning after awarding ourselves another 30-ish damage, the lack of scaling means our maximum damage is going to be about 230 points. Bleep, no. That's a DPS of what, like 50 damage per second? Despite the serious lack of firepower and such, I do still think we should grab a Titanite slab, which means we've got one more freeing of our friend. All we gotta do is head down this corridor, avoid this elderly man, and here he is, our onion pal, who hands us a slab and suggests we'll be meeting him again, of which I am also certain. Finally, however, we can cap out our damage. Boom! 230. It's not as climactic as I would have wanted it to be. 230 and no scaling is kind of awful. Regardless, let's continue with our main journey and face down this tall, false priest. Well, that fight was also a little bit anticlimactic. That was really, really easy. That's, wow. That's certainly not what I expected. Now it's time for Hey Look, remember Dark Souls 1?
Wow!
I know I've said this a couple times already, but it's been a long time since we played Dark Souls 3, so I'll say it again. I think this Anor Londo reveal could have been much, much cooler and more impressive if it was more than just a hallway to reach Aldrich. I think the fact it's such a simple, quite literally straightforward area relegates it to nothing more than just, hey guys, remember Dark Souls 1? And I think as a whole, it's really a disservice. Oh well, just another thing that makes Dark Souls 3 the worst of the trilogy. Hey, look, it's one of those enemies that reminds me of Tarantulas. Speaking of tarantulas, did you know there are 900 species of tarantula? Yuck. Next fact, tarantulas can actually be a whole variety of sizes. Some as small and cute as a fingernail, and others an ungodly size that I think I'd have been better off not knowing about. This, I think, is a relatively well-known one, although that might just be because tarantulas are common where I live, but they don't actually defend themselves through their bites. See these hairs? Yeah, they just kick these off their back at their aggressors, and they cause intense itching and irritation. And since most things bigger than them will have their faces up in their grill, that means a lot of that discomfort is probably focused in the eyes, which can even lead to things like temporary blindness. For this fact, you remember this spider that I showed you a second ago? Yeah, this is the biggest spider on Earth. Isn't that just amazing? Finally, there's lots of tarantulas that are this absolutely beautiful shade of blue, but scientists don't actually know why this happens. Blue is an exceedingly rare color in the natural kingdom, since it's such a hard pigment for organic life to create. So the fact they have this color at all is astonishing. While I think all but the cutest of the jumping genus of spider are disgusting, vile creatures, they possess a right to live as well. Some species of tarantula are endangered, as well as hundreds, if not thousands, of other animals. So please, if you're feeling generous, donate to the World Wildlife Fund in the description. It might even keep the spiders away tonight. Anyway, while we were sharing some animal cookies, we challenged this amorphous slug-man creature and came out victorious.
Very nice.
Meaning we've been awarded with our second of the 4 Cinders of a Lord. And now I think we're ready to challenge what horrors the castle may hold, such as this haunted set of armor. While his stature imposing and might near unbeatable, our technology and tactical approach were still far superior, and we emerged victorious with an easy slaying of this specter.
Got him!
However, there is yet one more thing we are missing before we can continue on our journey forward. The cinders of a certain giant, and for that, we must delve into the deepest pit of the earth. Our final meeting with our friend, who stands tall beside us as we walk in to challenge the behemoth. To uphold a promise, this man chooses to follow us in our professional endeavors.
Oh no, bro.
Thanks to his help, we've slaughtered our prey. Once again, onto the final challenges of the castle grounds, and what horrors of man may await as we wander into the Grand Archives. These men of wax and familiar foe have no hold on me, for I am as quick as a fox and as cunning as a cat. We escape the archives with just as much haste as we entered, and upon making it up a lengthy staircase, wander into the arena of our final cinder, the twin princes who beset their reign upon this crumbling kingdom.
I had 4 biscuits, and I ate 1. Then I only had 3.
Marks our grave, but you may rest here too, if you like.
They have so much health. So much health that our crossbow almost broke. So what am I doing? Sending Grey Rat out once again. Go on, fella. Either you'll bring back what we need, or you'll die and I'll retrieve your corpse. And seeing as we've already finished up the Sigurd quest, I'll go ahead and let you piece together what outcome we get. Apparently though, as I've been informed by my friends, for his ashes to become an item in the world, we gotta defeat a boss. To Archdragon Peak we go. Here we are, the boss that I'm crossing. My fingers will count toward progressing Grey Rat's death progress. An easy gimmick boss that's slaughtered without a single bolt fired.
Oh man. What's wrong with my
Grey Rat? Just like that, we've grabbed the ashes we need, loaded up on lightning bolts, and head back to the twins for round 2. With those lightning bolts, the twins have been put down as easily and shamefully as they've deserved. Now with that, we only have 3 challengers left before it's time for us to venture forth into lands I've only heard rumors of. Unfortunately, the lightning bolts are the last typing we'll be able to purchase. There are actually 2 more types of bolts, those being the exploding bolts and the splintering bolts, causing fire and bleed buildup respectively. But because Grey Rat never made it to his 3rd outing, those bolts will remain locked off from purchase. Regardless, we must push forward onto our next challenger in the pits of light-starved despair, Champion Gundyr.
Put your hands up.
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
My oh my, how easy of a fight, but still, God, it's so much fun. Champion Gundyr, every time I fight him, I always remember how much fun he is. I spent a while looking at DLC health values, and I won't lie guys, it's not looking good, but we'll still give it the old college try. For now though, we grab this old gold ring of favor, for we have an old king to face. An old demon king, to be exact. Easy fight, very, very easy fight. This means we only have 2 opponents left to face. So come with me, why don't you, as we head back up to Archdragon Peak. Sprint through the entirety of the zone as quickly as I always do. Ring a bell. And walk into our battle. I honestly am kinda surprised Nameless King doesn't try to dodge any of these. But even being a little bit rusty, my skill hasn't wavered, and we still embarrassed Nameless King with a first try victory. Something my friend Lars Burrito could never even dream of achieving.
Oh, man. What the hell, man?
Like I said, I'd try the DLCs, but they probably aren't happening, just based on the bosses themselves. I think Frida dodges bolts pretty consistently, just like any other NPC humanoid, and the demon princes would probably kind of just eat them for breakfast. Regardless though, here we are in the cold, cold world of Ariandel. For a little while, we were treated quite inappropriately by some wolves.
Whack. Whack. Can you cut that out?
Before meeting one of the coolest armor sets in the game. Then we made our way down to the Corvian village where we ran across some rooftops and immediately got to the point where we face off against that same awesome set of armor.
Say hello to my little friend!
I tried to move slower than I usually do through this DLC, but like, there's really no avoiding how short this ride is. And before too long, we've made it to the fly-infested basement and opened up the Frida fight. Guess it's time we speak with Mr. Corpse Walker and have 99% of our bolts whipped. Wow. Well, I can definitely say I was not expecting that outcome. That kind of came completely out of left field. I guess we should kill the Artorias wannabe and move on to the Ringed City, huh? Bro, how the hell was that fight harder than Frida? What am I saying? That's an actual NPC fight. And if there's one thing you can guarantee in a FromSoft game, it's that an NPC fight will always be more annoying and difficult than any traditional boss. This is another DLC where it's going to be kind of hard to stretch the time we spend here, mostly because I don't think we're going to get past Demon Princes. However, I do think it's important to mention the fact that we were able to FAP a whole 3 times. Then we got to face the Demon Princes. So, the Demon Princes. I think we actually could have killed them here, but my alarm to post my short went off, and if Mancakes is only one thing, it's punctual. So we ended up dying so I could post my short on time, but this attempt alone took me like 15 minutes because of how low the DPS is. And I was on my last recording day, so I just decided I'm gonna finish the run instead. Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. So we place each of the cinders we've collected, kneel before the thrones, and make it to the kiln of the first flame. Ah, Soul of Cinder, our final challenge.
Psych!
One that, after many bolts fired, falls on our first attempt, despite being a rather close victory. With that, we've had our moment of clarity and realize we can give the dark no quarter. So we link the first flame, meaning we have successfully beaten Dark Souls 3 as Van Helsing. This run was a lot of fun, and had a lot of unforeseen challenges, as well as surprisingly easy bosses. I enjoyed it, and I feel like this was a good run to ease back into running Dark Souls, as it's been a little while. Sorry we didn't do Ring City, but I was kind of running short on recording time. Please, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm trying to reach 10,000 by the end of the year, and we're only about 1,400 away. Make sure to visit the World Wildlife Fund if you're feeling generous and want to donate to animal preservation efforts. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys today. So, as always, have a fantastic day.